Some of you may have noticed over the last few weeks that there has been some football on. Some of you may have been lamenting the fact that your favourite TV shows have been moved to make way for matches. Some of you may have watched almost every game. There has been football. As I record this, England are yet to play their semi-final game against Denmark, so I don't know how that's turned out. But there are some things I do know. England are doing quite well. Semi-finals of the World Cup in 2018, semi-finals of the Nations League in 2019, and now at least the semi-finals of the Euros in 2021. My whole life up to now as a fan of England football has been one of disappointment. But here there seems to be something different about this England team. Even should they not make the final, it will still have been a good tournament, a good run of tournaments. And it's not just about the talent that they have on the pitch. We've had really talented groups of players before. It's about an attitude that I think starts with the manager and staff and impacts every aspect of this team. They're good to listen to. They seem a bit more well-rounded maybe than some in the past. I was listening to some retired England players who were talking about this. They said that back in their day, when you met up with the England team for training and games, you'd sit at different tables depending on what club you played at. So the rivalries between Man United and Man City, Tottenham and Arsenal, north of England and the south of England, whatever it was, those rivalries would carry over into the England camp. There'd be tension between the different players. They were saying it's not like that now, that the attitude has changed. That the team seems to be more united and healthier for it, better equipped to win games for it. It's not that the opposition that we face now is easier than it was 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. It's that England are more united and a better team for being united. A couple of days ago, we were looking at some passages in Acts, and I was talking about the misplaced anger of God's people. Those who believed themselves to be following the will of God were treating God's messengers really badly because they challenged the status quo. And in the passages that we've read since then, things have got even worse. Those who believe they are following God have plotted to kill Paul. And it's those who don't believe in God, the Romans, who are left to defend him. It must break God's heart to see people, all of whom claim to love him and belong to him, fight, persecute and kill each other. It must break his heart when those of us who claim to love him fall out with one another, gossip about each other, undermine each other. Like the England football team, if we want to be effective as God's people, if we want to live up to his standards, we need to be united. We don't have to agree about everything. I'm sure in the England camp, Phil Foden and Mason Mount still have some disagreement about whose team should have won the Champions League. Obviously, the best team did win it this season. But God calls his people to come together in unity despite our differences. Actually, sometimes our differences are what can make us stronger, strongest if we let them. God calls us to come together to work for his purposes. All too often across the whole world and in individual fellowships, the church's biggest problem, its biggest enemy is itself. It's different people all claiming to follow Jesus, saying and doing things which hurt each other. Saying and doing things which bring other people of God down. Things that deliberately undermine those in our churches that we don't agree with. Those on the outside of church must look in at us sometimes and wonder how we can be so cruel to each other. I wonder how we have got to a point like this, when Jesus told his disciples that they should be known for their love for each other. And so today I wonder what your part is in maintaining the unity of God's people. I wonder what your part is in mending wounds in the body of Christ. I wonder what your part is in working together, despite our differences, for the glory of God.